Hey everyone, welcome to this new moon Sidereal Astrology forecast for the new moon on Wednesday, March 2nd, 2022. All right, so we have a new moon in Aquarius. If you're expecting me to say Pisces just then, be sure to check out the link down below for more information. We are using the visible sky on this channel, which is very different from mainstream astrology, and so the signs do change. All right, so a new beginning, fresh new start. This is the lowest energy of the lunar cycle, so it is good to let the energies die down around Wednesday and see what new does arise. And here in Aquarius, it is likely collectively about the future. Aquarius is our future-oriented side. So this could be new beginnings with our own future aspirations, but also collectively as well. What kind of future do we want to see for the world or for humanity or for our groups and communities? It's a great time to join up with others of similar vision and focus on those future things as well. Now this is where Jupiter has been, so this new moon is in a very close conjunction to expansive Jupiter. And so this is all about expanding our worldview, expanding our perceptions on things, and so good to allow for some of that jovial and open-minded and adventurous energy to come out from this future-minded stuff. And the new moon will be sextiling Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius. So an opening, and it's nice to see the ruler in good harmony here, an opening for a bit of that individual self-expression, challenging the status quo, perhaps inducing some of this change, and mixing things up is great with this new moon. As Aquarius is often, the Aquarius energy is all about. Something to mention too with the new moon is that there's a lot of conjunctions taking place with Venus, Mars, and Pluto conjunct, and Mercury and Saturn are conjunct at the same time as this new moon. So conjunctions and new moons are a conjunction, are all about new beginnings. And so a lot of this across the board, in a sense, in a yearly sense as well. So let's go and take a look at all of this here in more detail when we return. Alrighty, so here's the chart for the new moon. So again, the new moon will be on Wednesday, March 2nd for most of us in the world. The exact time will be around 13:30 Eastern time of the Americas. Notice that I did say around, and that's because we are using what's called a topocentric model, which is that it does change based on where you are in the world, not just from time zone, but also your latitude as well. So around there though, and as you can see, it's about midday for the Eastern times. So give it, a day before, a day after, obviously, but that gives you hopefully a good idea of where it's when it's happening for you specifically. So new moon, new beginnings are all about this fresh new start. And now in the constellation of Aquarius, the future-oriented side of ourself. So good to listen to this, see what new arises, maybe set some new intentions around that Wednesday time period. And in this case, it's all about that future stuff. So on a personal level, it's great for our own future aspirations. If there's anything that you've been open-minded about, especially with Jupiter, it's about something regarding the future. Maybe it's an excitement. Aquarius rules the things we're excited about. But the future stuff could certainly be a new beginning with this, all right, in a yearly sense, of course. Now, this is a monthly energy with the lunar cycle we're developing, but as I said, there's a lot of conjunctions with these outer planets, which suggest that in a way, this is the new beginning of a lot of the yearly energy that we're going to start to see. And so in this context, being open-minded with Jupiter. So we know it's about future, aspirations, let's say, but with Jupiter specifically about being open-minded and being aware of our beliefs and our perspectives about these things. So what inspires us? What is our spirit guiding us towards? What are we open-minded about? What can we be a bit optimistic about, or at least pay attention to how powerful our perspective is? Jupiter, and even with these conjunctions over in Sagittarius with Pluto, are a reminder that our perception is extremely powerful. And so our own collective and individual perception about the future plays a huge role in what we'll experience, right? It dictates our actions. It also dictates what we become aware of and what opportunities come across. Because if our eyes are closed to certain things because we don't think it's possible, or we're just not even it's not even in our perception, we just won't see it. Our mind can only focus on so much at one time. And, Jupiter is the kind of energy that says, well, the more different angles you can look at things, the more open-minded you are about things, then the more you can allow into your reality. And so great time of paying attention to our beliefs, to our worldview, and again, all in the context of the future, both for ourselves and collectively. And this leads to the next point about Aquarius, which is that Aquarius can be very much about collective energy. It's a very individualistic sign, and so it is about individual self-expression, meaning listening to our own excitement and doing things that are different from maybe what the status quo is doing, right? Because we all have this very unique and individual role to play. And so Aquarius is about accessing that individualism, right? Individual self-expression and the quirks and the weirdness and all of this. So it's a good time of expressing that. And so in our personal lives, it's a great time of being more of our true self, challenging the status quo perhaps. But seeing that that's also part of the greater, connection, right? So the world in and of itself, or the community in and of itself, right? What makes a community is, of course, each individual. And each individual brings something new or different or unorthodox to the group, which is what really benefits the group, right? And so we can see this on the micro level, which is smaller groups, but also in the global level, right? We all have a unique role to play in the global events of things. And so Aquarius is all about connecting to that, but also joining up with others to facilitate that, whether it's a small group, whether it's online, whether it's with community, whatever it might be, joining up with others of similar vision for the future, I think is a great intention to set for this new moon as well. All right, so the main energy here is obviously this conjunction up to Jupiter. Very important, very significant. No major squares, no oppositions, as you can see, no major aspects to the new moon. However, we do have this sextile up to Uranus. And it's nice to see this since Uranus is the ruler of that Aquarian energy. And so he's over in Aries. And so what this has been signifying is for the past 2 or 3 years, it's been very good to, yes, let out more of that individualism, that independence specifically with Aries. And so there's this fire component to a lot of this. And I think it's great to set intentions to mix things up, take some initiative with things, again, get outside that comfort zone. Listen to that excitement, take initiative, take action. There's at least an opening to do that. An opening for initiative, an opening for some of that fire and action with this sextile. So sextiles are really energies we can choose or choose not to work with. They're like doors opening, but it's certainly available, and it's certainly on the easier side of things in that we can choose or choose not to utilize it. But know that it is a great time for fire, initiative, action, independence, new experiences, trusting our instincts, our gut, right? Being proactive as well, to be implemented into this future-minded stuff and perhaps some of these possibilities with Jupiter. Now, as I said, there's a lot of conjunctions which are also very significant, happening at the same day as the new moon. So we've had Venus and Mars conjunct, which has been going on for the past couple weeks pretty much. But they're conjoining again here during the new moon, and Mercury and Saturn as well. So the Venus and Mars is that, this has been a balance collectively between the yin and yang aspects of ourselves. So it's still good to do this, to see how we can bridge that gap, right? To be direct and active in all this now with the sextile to Uranus, but also receptive and tactful. Venus is the opposite to Mars, which is more about what benefits others as well, what's more tactful, what can we attract to us as well, not just pursue things. So active and receptive, right? So it's been good to blend these two together. And great for personal life energy as well, relationships, to be direct and receptive at the same time. But Pluto has been, these planets have been passing over Pluto and will be passing over Pluto this part of the week. So Pluto is the ruler of the underworld and it's very deep energy. And so it's very much about transformation and the death, so to speak, that leads to the rebirth. And so allowing for some of that, those needs of Mars, the fire of Aries, to be non-attached to this stuff, to allow it to die, so to speak, to be as non-attached as we can to our needs, what we want, where we're putting our actions. And in this way, then it empowers us. And then we claim true power. Not so much because we're wanting to do things out of safety or security. We're doing it because we really want to. So we do our best to let go of the fears, the insecurities, the wounds, make peace with them, and allow for the death of not having what we want necessarily for that safety, not having the safety we want or the security we want, and doing our best to be okay with that. And in that space comes that personal empowerment. And so Pluto's very much like that, the death that leads to the rebirth, the transformation. So that's going on with this new moon. It's also involving, again, Venus, so the relationship side of it specifically, and our values getting reborn as well. So new beginnings across the board, relationally, obviously collectively. We can see here with the future stuff, future aspirations, our worldviews as well with Jupiter. And this is energy taking us into next month as well, since Jupiter will then conjoin Neptune in April, actually, but the fast movers will activate it next month in March. And this conjunction with Mercury and Saturn. So our minds can be very grounded right now, and I think another new beginning could certainly be with anything we want to put our minds or our mental aptitude into that we know will take time, will take patience, persistence, perseverance, right? Can certainly be new beginnings with mental energy, also with anything like our routines we want to put work or time into, and possibly even anything involving communication, if it is speaking to you on that level. All right, so as you can see, it's a very clean chart, very straightforward. New moon conjunct Jupiter. I mean, that's the main aspect with it, but there's a lot going on in the sky, particularly in the realm of conjunctions, which again signify new cycles, new beginnings between these planets. So all in all, good to listen around the new moon, sit with the energy, see what new arises. The theme is about developing our future-oriented side, either personally and collectively, to access that more open-minded and free-spirited nature, right, of Jupiter, and even adventurous nature, to be adventurous with our mind and our worldview, right, to see things from a different angle. We have the support of Uranus to take that action and initiative to mix things up, challenge things in our own status quo and perhaps the collective one as well. We have conjunctions with the relational planets of Venus and Mars, right? New beginnings with personal empowerment, and of course any grounding energy with our minds, routines, and communications with Mercury and Saturn. All right, so great intention for not only the lunar month, but I would say the year as well, since we are starting a lot of new cycles with these outer planets. All right, so everyone have a fantastic new moon. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click the like button if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you're not yet signed up for MTZ Insiders, it is a newsletter where you do get these videos released first before YouTube. So do sign up down below if you haven't yet. And have a great new moon, everyone. Thank you again. And I'll see you all next time for the next astrology forecast. Take care.